Hey, what's good? When this is at 9 or 80 in the clutch, and we got to talk about some very interesting yet very sad news going on around the NBA regarding superstar player Jimmy Butler and his impending free agency. As per Brian Lewis of the New York Post, he has stated, quote, "The six-time All-Star is the most accomplished standout on that list, not named James, and he likes Brooklyn according to sources close to the player." Now, when looking at this on the surface, you can argue, what is this news for? I mean, come on, it's a New York reporter talking about a guy on a rival market, in this case, Miami, trying to lure him to one of his home teams and either the Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets. Like, it's not going to make too much sense. Of course, he's going to say that. It's too biased. Understandably so. But if we dig a little deeper, we have to understand that Jimmy Butler, he does have coffee company named Big Face Coffee, and he likes to use his off seasons to promote his coffee company, particularly in New York City. And he has been on record saying how he loves New York, he enjoys everything about it, and how amazing New York is and everything like that. And he even shut down a rumor saying, "No, that does not mean I'm playing for the Knicks. I like it here in Miami, so you can shut that down." Just summarizing what he's saying. However, that was in previous off seasons. In this offseason, however, there's tension going on between the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, as the Miami Heat are basically saying, we're not going to give you a contract extension right now because you have missed too many games, you're injured too often, you're getting up there in age. And especially like the most infamous example was when Jimmy Butler's talking about, oh, if I played the New York Knicks or the Boston Celtics, I would be able to defeat them, and this would be easy. And then Pat Riley saying, listen, if you're going to talk about the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks, first you need to get yourself on the court first, and then you can start talking. But until then, shut your mouth and then go play. That's what he basically was saying, just in summary. And while it does seem harsh and very critical, it's understandable from their perspective. However, in this video, I'm going to talk about why I'm actually on Jimmy Butler's side on this, and why all this mess to begin with is actually on the Miami Heat front office. Because Jimmy Butler has done everything the Miami Heat could ask of him, and then some. He has been their true leader, the first leader they've had since Dwayne Wade, or even LeBron James, if we want to consider back in the Heatle days. Jimmy Butler, he has been able to help out the Heat and deliver for them on numerous occasions, whether they needed to win a regular season game to stay relevant in the playoff hunt, or being able to either close a series in the playoffs or even save themselves from a deficit. Jimmy Butler's always been the man to answer for them, and he has helped the Heat overachieve on numerous of seasons that he's been there. And he's actually the first superstar to be willing to come to the Miami Heat in many years, because we want to look at some context right here. No superstar actually wanted to play for the Miami Heat during a brief period, because when Dwayne Wade wanted basically one last major deal as his way of just to retire, because an example of this was when Kobe Bryant, he had a 2-year extension, and even though it was going to hurt the Lakers during that time, it was basically a way of saying thank you, Kobe, for everything that he's done for them. Well, Dwayne Wade basically wanted the same deal, and the Miami Heat was like, nope, we're not going to give you that kind of money, You're not going to do it. You're going to take another pay cut for us, and you've been loyal to us, so you're going to do it one more time. And Dwayne Wade's like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go home. And that's why he ultimately signed with Chicago. And then many superstars around the NBA looked at the Miami Heat and they were like, is that how you treat your main guy? Like, the dude that basically busted his back and his knees and sacrificed millions of dollars to bring in other superstars to help win you guys championships, and has done so much for you guys in many years, and this is how you guys ultimately thank him, by just letting him walk away and not giving him what he asked for. Screw y'all. I mean, I'm not playing for y'all. I don't want to play for the Miami Heat. No, I'm good. And during that time, in between Dwayne Wade leaving in 2016 and Jimmy Butler signing with the Heat back in 2019, the Miami Heat were basically a very average to below average team. Nobody wanted to sign with them, like I mentioned, and they basically had to just suck up every single resource they possibly can to just stay relevant, just to even be talked about as an 8th seed at the time. That's how bad it was. But Jimmy Butler was in Philadelphia at the time, and when he decided his free agency destination, he was like, you know what, I want to go to Miami. I like what Pat Riley's doing down there. I like the Miami Heat, their culture, their system, and I think we'd be a good match. And theoretically, they are. Both are very tough, hard-nosed, defensive-minded players and defensive-minded systems, and it was a match made in heaven. And they're both gritty, talented, and just always looking to fight tooth and nail to the end. That's what Jimmy Butler believes, and that's what the Miami Heat believe. However, on the Miami Heat's part, they basically have stagnated ever since they signed Jimmy Butler. They was like, all right, we got our superstar, we have our young pieces around, we're going to keep this squad, and we like where we're at. However, when Jimmy Butler leads them to the finals, whether back in 2020 against the Lakers or even in 2023 against the Denver Nuggets, there's always like one or two glaring issues that the Miami Heat need to address, and they do little to nothing to address that problem. And the funny thing is, while the Miami Heat are winning, now superstars want to play for the Heat. Every time there's a superstar that's disgruntled and he wants to get traded, he's like, I want to play for the Miami Heat. And what do the Heat do? They miss out every single time, whether because of their own doing or because of they just lack of effort. They just don't have the assets or resources because they always keep their guys that they value so much. They kept them too long. Now his value dwindles, and then now they're basically screwed. And this happened numerous times. And everybody's like, what are you guys doing? I mean, like, it's ridiculous because the Miami Heat, they're not a team like, let's say, the Milwaukee Bucks or the Portland Trailblazers or the Sacramento Kings, where they're a small market team and nobody wants to play for them no matter what. So they have to be smart by drafting the right players or maybe making a very good home run trade here and there, or even just overpaying players just to get them to come here. They're not like that. They're a team that a lot of people want to play for naturally because it's a hot destination. A lot of people love the no state income tax. They love the weather. They love everything there is in Miami and things like that. And the Miami Heat don't even use that to their full advantage. They just keep letting superstars pass on them, pass on them, pass on them. As we have seen during the Jimmy Butler era, multiple superstars have stated they want to play for the Heat, and the Miami Heat, they just screwed themselves over by just either not giving an effort or just keeping their players intact, and then they end up like just always crippled. So I'll give you some examples. Kevin Durant, he has stated on multiple occasions he wants to play for the Miami Heat, wants to get traded there. When he was with the Brooklyn Nets, he wanted to play for either the Phoenix Suns or the Heat. Phoenix Suns ultimately got him. Passed up on that. Donovan Mitchell, he wanted to play for the Miami Heat. He likes Dwayne Wade, and a lot of people compare Donovan Mitchell to Dwayne Wade, how he's basically a modern version of D Wade. And the Miami Heat were very interested in Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell ended up going to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a surprise move that to this day, I still can't explain how that happened. I thought the Knicks were going to get him, but I don't know how Cleveland got him. But anyway, Bradley Beal, he has been on record saying he wanted to go to Miami. That was his number one choice, but the Miami Heat were looking like, we'll see. We'll try. And it's ridiculous. And even most infamously, Damian Lillard, we spent all offseason trying to determine when is Damian Lillard going to Miami. And Damian Lillard saying, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to Miami. Do not trade me anywhere else, because if you do, I'm going to demand trade from that team to go to Miami. And then the Trailblazers looked at Damian Lillard and the Miami Heat as they thought they had the power, and they were like, screw y'all. I don't care. I'm going to send y'all to a rival, and then let's see how you're going to like that, huh? And sending Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Miami Heat, they didn't plan anything else. They ended up keeping the same roster. They want to run it back as always. And they ended up both crippled, both figuratively and literally, as throughout the season there were so many health problems. And ultimately, they ended up bounced out in the first round by the eventual champion Boston Celtics. It's like they've missed out on so many chances and opportunities, and they failed to address their certain needs. Like, for example, they need a true point guard, and they still do to this day. For many years, they never addressed that. They had an aging Kyle Lowry, which I knew at the time was not going to work, and it just didn't make sense. And he fizzled out. He didn't do that well with the Heat, and even now with the 76ers. And look at that. Bam Adebayo, he's done amazing at center. However, his natural position is power forward, and now they're finally agreeing to this. And they finally drafted a rookie center who he may be a really good player, but I believe it's 2 years a little too late, because you're asking Bam Adebayo to play all these roles and take on this extra responsibilities at a position he's not even a natural fit for. And now he and the Heat agree, and then now a couple years later, they're going to finally address this problem when it should have been done during the first championship run against the LA Lakers. So it's very sad to see. And look, Jimmy Butler, he's done amazing things for the Heat. He has taken all their Miami Heat stubbornness of Heat culture. We're the strongest, toughest team. We put our players through mouth guards and knee pads and make them extremely tough, yet they end up injured all the time. And the lack of help to give Jimmy Butler exactly what he needs. And he still doesn't complain, doesn't cause any issues, and ends up like doing the best he can to lead them to the finals. That's really amazing right there, and that's all you can ask for. And for him to have like all these like championship runs, and Allen Iverson 2001 like run, or a LeBron James 2018 like run, it's just something, I would forever appreciate and respect Jimmy Butler for. And ultimately what this tells me, the Brooklyn Nets, at present, they're not really constructed to win a championship. He ultimately wants to get one last major contract very similar to Dwayne Wade in this case. And Miami Heat, they're not budging. And so if Jimmy Butler, if he wants to go to Brooklyn, that's where he feels happy, I'm all for it. I respect him for it. It's not his fault at all. I'm 100% on his side. He's one of my all-time favorite players, and he's done amazing things for the Miami Heat, but the Heat have not done anything to match that for him. So that's not his fault at all. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a really sad thing if Jimmy Butler cannot win a championship for Miami, because it's a really great story on the surface, but I mean, if there's no ring, I mean, these days it doesn't really matter. So we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? Do you believe Jimmy Butler is being too selfish here? Is he just being a traitor, as I've heard some things around before? Or do you believe it is on the front office? Like, they just, because of their lack of effort to help him out to win a championship, this is why Jimmy Butler is trying to leave and give him the most money he can? Or even if this is the wrong decision and he should take less money to go to a championship contender to win a ring? I'd love to hear you guys out in the comment section. What do you believe? Who's right, who's wrong, and what route should Jimmy take? Thank you all so much for your time. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I certainly would appreciate every single last one of you guys. Thank you all so much. God bless, and talk soon.